We're going to make a quick project where you run around, collect some items, and the score from collecting them shows on the HUD. I'm going to open a project in Content Examples, and this will open up an empty scene more or less. We're going to go File, New Level, and go Default. And the first thing I want to do is save it, so I'll go Save As. I'm going to put it into a folder called Pixel, and we'll call it Pixel Map. We want to create a folder called Pixel as well to put our content in. Now we want to start thinking about our game mode and characters and so forth. Go to the game folder and type Pixel. You'll see that there's a Pixel character who comes with the game, with the engine, and used for some of the demos. What I'm going to do is create a blueprint based on this one, and it will be exactly the same. Let's put that off screen. So that will show up. There's two of them with the same name now. Okay. Let's just rename it. We'll call it Pixel Guy. Alright, hopefully the renaming doesn't cause trouble. Let's search for Pixel Guy. Let's rename this one. That's ready for me doing this test version. So I want to move this into a Pixel folder. Just click and drag, and it lets you choose copy or move. So I'll just move it in there. And use Pixel Guy. So we want as much as we can to have all our game stuff into all our new stuff into a new folder. Next thing we want to do is create a game mode, and we can either go create BluePrint and choose game type or game mode from in there, or we can go to Blueprints and go to game mode create. Let's put that into Pixel folder 2, and we'll call it Pixel game mode. Press OK. That's fine. What we want to go to is the default section. So the player controller class that we're going to use is going to be, the pawn class is going to be Pixel Guy, right? Ignore all the other stuff that I just created by mistake more or less. Pixel Guy. And now we need to create a HUD class, and we can use the defaults for these ones. We'll play around with these and see what we get. Okay, so let's close this down. Get rid of Pixel Guy from the search field so that will show up, and save it. Next thing we want to do is create a HUD class. So the HUD class is under custom classes, and we want to type in HUD, and then go find HUD, and go select, and you should get a new blueprint. We call it Pixel HUD. Alright, and we save that. So notice I'm saving each time I create it, even though there's nothing much in there yet. The next thing we want to do is to create that actor, which we can actually hunt around for in the scene. Just go to new blueprint and call it, make it an actor type, and call it Pixel Actor. Alright, and save that too. Okay, so if we crash now, everything's still going to be there. Well, first off, we need to assign our HUD to Pixel Game Mode. So let's go back to the details of that and make the HUD class to be Pixel HUD instead. And save. In case you're wondering, what's the difference between HUD and Pixel HUD at the moment? Absolutely nothing. This parent class you can see is HUD, and the new class gets everything that HUD has, and then you can add more. So we're going to be adding a bit more, but not very much really. Let's populate our pixel actor with some components. Components are assets which make up your blueprint. Things like static meshes, lights, triggers maybe. I want a static mesh, and let's look for logo in meshes in the game folder. And we should find this flash one's pretty cool. So let's use that, and to assign it we drag down and plunk it in using use selected asset from content browser. And that was what we get there. I'm just going to scale it down a bit. I'll just directly enter 0.3, I suppose. Let's add it anyway. Another component. This will be you can search for this. You can type sphere. Yep. The sphere is just for triggering events off of. I'm not sure how big is it. That's pretty small. So let's see if we can't scale this down. It doesn't seem to want to scale down. Let's just add another one. Alright, I added it as the root. So for the root I might just clear that out. And set the static mesh here. And then we can scale that down. Alright, so that was a bit clumsy of me, but maybe that will help you to avoid a similar problem. Setting a root as a static mesh is probably not a great idea. Anyway, it's scalable. So, if you remember we said 0.3 here, let's go back to 1. That all on the original settings, and this is the critical control. So this is 0.4. Alright, 0.4. So that's our components that we need. Let's just save it. I'll just close down this actor for a second, and we'll go to our pixel folder, turn off logo from the search field. Let's open up Pixel Guy. Alright, so Pixel Guy is open, and we just want to jump to the default properties for him, and look down and see what we can find. In particular, I'm looking for his jumping height, and it's got a jump z velocity of 600. Let's just make it 900. So it can jump a little higher than the original one. So this is why we made Pixel Guy as a child of Pixel Character Dude. I'll just save that. Oh, let's just see what happens when you go play. Make sure we have him in the scene. You can see this character is designed just to move sideways, and when he jumps, you get a bit of a jump. So he's hopefully jumping a little higher than before. Indeed, he's the pawn, so let's jump to the HUD. So you can right click and go edit, or you can double click it, or you can go BluePrints, HUD, edit pixel HUD, or you can even find it. If it's an actor in the scene, you can find it in here. This is not a scene actor. So we'll just edit it. And what we want to do first off is just establish some variables. The variables that we're looking for are going to be an integer called something like current score, and we want it to be editable. So what is the player score? Is the tooltip. See, it gets a green light once you add the tooltip, and it's public. Alright, so that's one thing we want to add. The next integer we want to add is, I'm going to call it update by. And again, same thing. So this is the score increment. What is the score increment if you want to make a question? I forgot to name it correctly. Update by. We want to add a string or two. So variable string. Remember, string is a line of text. The string we're going to have here is display score. Well, let's call it score to display. Okay. And then make it editable, and this is the drawn string for the score. We could add a variable boolean that is something like the display HUD. This could just be used for, do we want the HUD to be on or off, and we can use a boolean to control it. We won't actually use this, but it's nice to put it in. Let's call it controls HUD visibility. So this would be something you add if you want to extend from our example. We also need to make a function. The function is going to be the maths for updating the score. So I'll call it score update. And you notice it pops us straight in there, and we get a node for that. The score update script that I want to make is just adding integers together and setting them to display on the screen. If we just drag and drop some of the stuff into the scene, into the graph, it's current score, and we'll go get. Here's update by, and we'll also go get, and we'll just flip their order. We add them together, so for that we can type in, if you ever see the int plus int, pretty much an add function in there for integers. The next thing is we want to convert this to a string, so I'm going to find an append mode, and you see that append is designed to take string variables. So current score is an integer. The nice thing is if we just drag it in there, it'll automatically convert it for us, which is really, really nice. Saves a lot of time. And so here I'm just going to type in score semicolon, or score space colon space, and that will precede the number. So there's no need for input here. And then we're going to take score to display and set it. So that just feeds into the return value of the append. So append is a plus b, return something into here. Let's drag in current score again and just set. What this does is once the current score is updated, it gets set back to current score. So let's suppose it's 0 and you update it by 5, you'll get 5. So now it's 5, you update it by 5 again, you get 10. 10 plus 5 is 15, and just keep going through. Well, now we just do the execute lines, like so. And finally we'll add a function, or an event, to send this back up to the event graph for the HUD. We want to make a custom event. We could add event, custom event, and call it something like update score. Let's let that alone for now, and we'll go score to update here, and now we can call it. So we'll go compile first. That makes sure that when we look for it now, type score update now, it shows up in the list. It's a really good idea to compile stuff after you add a node like that you want to call, because it might not be found, particularly if you're working in another class or another blueprint that you want to get it from. Okay, so that's pretty much the function that we want to make. Score update sets the current score by a certain amount, and we write it to a string so that we can then in here draw it on the screen. Now your HUD should have receive, I think it's this one, event receive draw HUD. So it happens very quickly. We want to draw some text on the screen. So for that we need to draw text. And the text that we're going to draw is score to display. And you can get it. It gets it from, I guess, wherever it was last updated. Let's do a little bit of just sort of housekeeping stuff. Here's our display HUD boolean, and we want to branch. Now the hotkey for branch is B and click, so that's nice and fast. So we feed the event draw HUD into that branch, and if display HUD is true, then it will draw text in here. So notice we haven't used the update score event yet. Well, the reason is I'm going to make two displays on this. One is going to be score whatever, and that's going to be permanently showing on the screen. And then I'm going to make a little incrementer readout, which is going to be in the center of the screen. Okay, so it's kind of an extra step here. So let's just double this up, and slowing around. Sorry, it'll get a little dense because I'm using the screen recording frame. So let's pull out from here x value, and we'll type in divide by 2. So we'll get integer divided by integer, and we'll type in 2. So x is divided by 2. Let's just copy it. Copy and paste that. I cut it instead of pasting it. Do that for y as well. So both of those divide by 2, and we're going to feed x into here. Notice it gets convert to float because this is a float, and it's not a float. And so we've done that for both of them. The cool thing about this is we could even go further and go create macro, and we can even name it. Right click and rename. Divide by 2. And so I suppose, just to be clever, we can do this like so. And you can use the little macro all over the place. Alright, so divide by 2. Okay, what we want to display in here is actually not the score to display is displayed on one draw text, and we'll put this at a certain space on the screen. I'll just make it 50 by 50. This one we want to display in the middle of the screen, and what we're going to display is not the score but the incremented value for the score. So we want to get score update. No, sorry, we want to get update by, and just feed it in there. And if you remember, we can just drag straight into the string, and it gets converted for us. Just pulling off the side a little bit. That's probably all we need to do now. No, we don't. We need to, of course, do the update first. So if we were to, we get this update score from our compiler. We get the score update from score update as a function, but there's also an event called score update score. So okay, that would create a really crazy loop. What we really need to do is kind of update score and get that event. It's already there for us. Alright, so update score is what we want here, and that was lucky that I spotted that. So update score will feed into, let's feed into a gate with G and click, and it's going to open this gate. This will be fed out of the draw text in here and into here. And we'll do a delay. This is how long this will show on the screen, pretty much. And then we'll feed it through the delay back into it and close the gate. Because what happens with the draw HUD event is this is kind of like a tick function in a way. It's like a continual update, and then so it gets set and then it comes back and it closes and it comes on and gets set. But it gets opened every time the score is told to update. Right? So now we need to worry about what's going to tell it to update. The score update function, but we need to call the function from somewhere. We're not actually going to call it from within this HUD class. We're going to call it from within the actor when we pick it up. We'll close this down and save. Let's go to our actor, there, and start doing the graph for him. This graph is notionally very simple, but I'm sure the first time you come over this you'll be really feeling some pain because it's not intuitive. The first thing I'm going to do is do a begin play event. That is P on your keyboard, P for play. Before we can run through this string of nodes, we need to add variables for this class. And the first one I want to add is a object variable, which looks up our pixel HUD. So we can type in pixel HUD. And notice it gets a little C on the end. Right? This is just a convention of the engine, I suppose. And so that needs to be editable. So get vars or get stuff would be better because it can get more than just var. Get stuff from pixel HUD. Okay, so this is the tooltip and it's editable. There's a green dot there. And we'll call it get HUD. No wait, let's not call it get HUD because you can also set values. So get HUD var is a good name. We want to get that, so we'll go get all actors of class, and the class we're looking for is going to be pixel HUD in the content browser. I suppose also you could just type it in here, like so, and you'll find it. So you can do it that way, or you can press the little thing. This gets it, and we're going to output that to get function. So you can see the array gets, this is an array symbol here, and there's only ever going to be one in it because there's only one pixel HUD, but still it gets populated. we get from the array that 1. Now what we want to do is, I find this a little hard to pop up. To see, cast 2 doesn't show up on the list here, so it's kind of a complicated thing. We'll go hadvar here and go set, and we need to specify cast 2. All we can do is cast to object. I'm going to do a little cheat here. Cast to object. Let's do it here. There's probably a better way to do this, but that's the only way I found to do it. So we want cast to pixel HUD. And that shows up in the list. The little off screen. Okay. Cast to pixel HUD. We can delete this one. That's pretty weird how this works. To be honest, I don't really like that, but maybe someone can show me a nicer way. And you can see this gets populated like so. The object goes in like that, and we're done. You just have to lay it out nice. And if you want to, you could do a print string for print strings, like just to draw a log on the screen pretty much. If it fails, you can type in just some cast fail, that's probably fine. This if it doesn't work, but hopefully it does work. Right? So this is a little process that is described on the forum by Zach Parrish. This is where I found information on this. There's probably a few locations for this. There's a communication between blueprints and level blueprint. We're communicating between an actor and HUD class, but it's similar. And you can see he's demonstrated it out here. So that's where I picked that up from. He's using an array, the for each loop to check all the actors in the array, but we know there's only one in our case, so we can chuck that one out. It still works. He's using it to get the name of objects or something like that. So this is what we have so far. A process when the game starts to find and allocate hadvar to its class in a rather strange way, but it works. Now, our actor, when we touch it, should do something. So we need an event, which is event actor begin overlap. We'll do fine. I'm going to make a branch, and the condition for the branch will be, is the overlapping actor the player? So we want to get player pawn, and if this actor here equals that actor, then we'll be fine. So we need to go equals and look for equal object. I guess you could just type object. Not equal, equal. There, equal object. So if this one equals that one, then feed that into there. If it's true, we're going to have a do once. A do once is kind of like I used to encapsulate it to a gate and then just have it closed straight away. But this is simpler. Start closed is off. As soon as it gets completed, it pretty much closes it forever. This will be actor by actor, so we'll have multiple copies of this actor in the scene. Alright, let's just do a little visual guide to this object so that it will set a different material when something happens. We'll go set material. Notice you're getting the wrong node here. Set scalar parameter, set vector. We just want to swap the material out. So let's try doing it from an object variable. So you get nothing. Let's try doing it from the library. Set material, and you can see there, set material. Sometimes you cannot just pull out and find the one you're looking for. Right? You have to be very sensitive to the context of what's going on. In that case, the library seems the quickest way to get there. So the material we're going to set, we can browse for it in the library. I'll just minimize this and look for, we can actually filter materials. Go game and just get all materials. That's one way to do it. Maybe just read it. Not a very imaginative. Oh, let's make it chrome. Kind of chrome looking, isn't it? I'm not sure, but let's just play around. You know, that's one way you can get the material. the other way is you can actually browse materials inside of here, but they're very small and you can't really tell what's going on half the time. There may be ways around that. Bigger thumbnails, but then it will take you longer to flip through the list. So pros and cons either way. We'll just use the one from the browser. When we touch this object to set the material, and we have two static meshes in the list there. So which one is it? Let's go to components, and it's static mesh 2. Alright, so static mesh 2, get, and apply that into the target. It's changed. Then we want to deal with this HUD-var chat. This guy here that we were setting up all that complicated stuff for in order to reference the HUD class. Now we can start playing with him. So we'll go get HUD var, and we want to access a variable inside of it. Right? Here's the tricky part. If you just try to go something like set update by or whatever, you see there's nothing. Right? Update by is the name of the variable in the other class. Right? So what you need to do instead is drag out of HUD var, and you'll notice that it has variables and default, and you can see there goes there's get update by and set update by, but we want to set it. So set update by becomes the found variable within HUD var being pixel HUD. This will just follow after that one there. And so we set that value, and we want to set it to something like 5. Right? It's pretty easy actually, right? The thing is that psychologically it's difficult to find this variable. You know that it's in another class, and how can I get it? So you think, oh well, maybe I can have a variable which looks up pixel HUD. So you create that, and it still doesn't work. And if you don't create this part here, it'll find none when it does that. The log will say try to access none and get bar. Sweet. Alright, now we want to access a function in there, so we drag out again. Again, it's kind of strange, isn't it? And we choose this time call function score. Whoa. Score update. Assuming I get them right. One is the function, one is the event. So I'm assuming it's that one. So we're pretty much telling that function to occur from here. Next thing I'll do is just a delay, D and click, and look, we'll make the time to be 0.5 a second. Then we're going to blow this guy up. So it'll be destroy, and that will mean this is no more. So that was not terribly complicated. We could also play a sound or something like that. It might be nice. So play sound. Play sound application possibly. Let's go get actor location. The actor we're getting is this one. I'm just going to feed that into there. We'll put the sound like so, and we'll choose a sound from the browser. So, actually, we can just type in here. Well, yeah, within reason, because we have to figure out what it sounds like. So, just right click and go play. That's kind of cute. That's nice, I think. So we'll use that one instead. Just update it from the content browser. Let's go save. We need to compile this as well, so put that in right. Let's see if we're missing anything in our link graph here. Oh, yep, we're missing a font to display text on the screen. This will matter because otherwise we won't see anything. So I've already made a font called the Gothic font. That's something to look at another time. So that puts font on the screen. You can change the colors. So those are the classes. Let's just worry about putting them in the scene. Now the scene is pretty much nothing, so give me a moment to add something up. About a 90-degree angle there. Notice that the side that we're working on is the dark side. So we could grab the light source and do a bit of a rotate on it. And now we want to get some platforms for the character to jump on. So these need to be a lot smaller. That will be fine. The first thing we want to do, is we have a possibility here, is to just go play. And oh, okay, it's on the wrong angle. We can move it sideways. Notice it's anyway, it's not high enough. It's too high, so our angle is actually this way. Not expected. Let's get some fix. There we go. So we just drop this down a little and create another one. Alright, so the light build completed pretty fast. Ooh, it's pretty. Is there actually a gap there? Oh damn, there's a gap. Oh well, we'll go with it. I'm not going to be able to fall off now. This makes the shadows look really funny. Yeah, I feel like tightening it up, so I'm going to adjust it so that the shadows all face to the wall, and it's also tilted a little less steep, and then we'll just pull the back wall, we'll pull these guys into the back wall a bit more, so they overlap just a little, I'll be touching it, and we'll go build again. Alright, so we're back, let's just go play and see what we have. Little man, he can jump, he can collect things. But we're not getting anything on the HUD. Let's try and find out why. Alright, the reason was pretty straightforward. With this branch here for display HUD, all this will only happen once the HUD, display HUD value is true, and just by default it happens to be off. So I'll just pull that across so you can see, the default value for that boolean is false. So there will be no HUD, right, because false does nothing. Alright, so with that, folks, we compile again and save and play, and you can see we get score 5 and 5 in the middle, score 10 and 5 in the middle. It'll always say 5 in the middle. Alright, 20, yay. So that's kind of our goals. Not too bad run through. Thanks for watching. Hopefully it was very helpful to you.